The words that you speak to others and think about yourself in your own head are extremely powerful at shaping your identity, your sense of who you think you are and what you think you're capable of. Your access to words really is an access to extended versions of yourself or to a limited version of yourself. So, more than ever, learning to be verbose and nuanced with your language is extremely important. And this is coming at a time when everyone's telling everybody to speak to each other at a fifth grade level and, throw out all the new fancy words because no one understands them. Um, and that's kind of a problem. If you're new here, hi, my name is Nikki. I enjoy neurobiology, psychology, spirituality. I also have a diagnosis of autism and ADHD, if that tickles anyone's fancy. We're going to talk about the dangers of I am, which is a super popular thing right now. And as I am a human, during this conversation, I will probably use those terms, and in future videos, I'll probably use it again. But this is just to draw your attention to noticing how the language you speak to yourself and to others with affects your sense of self. So we don't need any I am police. That's not what I'm here for. So a really easy example is if we think about past to present to future tense, I can say, I saved someone, I am a hero. And we might like to do that. We might like to say to someone, you saved someone, which is past tense, right? You are a hero. But that's not true because that event is gone. And when we're trying to get rid of our suffering and let go of our sense of self, we really need to also be able to let go of all of the identifications with something we did in the past. I did save someone. I'm not a hero now. This one might seem a little bit silly, but it can be really hard for people to cling to an identity. I am a best bookseller because I did have a best-selling book. So now what do I do? Because I have to make another one. And then people get stuck. It used to be common that people would write like 40 books in their career. And now it's like this big serious thing because I am a book writer. I am a bestseller. Do you see how it causes this clinging and suffering because we believe that what we did in the past needs to be reflected again in the future, even if it's a positive thing? It adds unnecessary stress and tension to our bodies, which makes it harder for us to recreate the act if we want to recreate the act. On the flip side, this might catch some of y'all off center, but we also don't want to say, I killed someone, so I am a killer. Or you killed someone, so you are a killer. And the reason I'm saying this is, and I will explain with a good story, I'll do that now and then I'll explain after, is there is a book out right now by Larry Miller, who is a man who, when he was younger, like age 16-ish, got caught up in a gang and something went south and another teenager died once. So he went to jail. Through an amazing program that there was in the US at the time, he was able to go to school and get a degree in accounting, and he was able to rebuild an entire life. And now he's like an important Nike executive, but he was having these huge headaches and really unhealthy because he was so afraid someone would find out about his past. So he wrote the whole book to out himself so that he could have freedom from it. And this matters because if you just label someone as, you are a killer, or you are a homeless person, you are a bad person, you are a drug addict, you will always be an alcoholic, you are not, then they can't move their identity on from that. And you stop them from evolving into being a better person, which is what you want. If you look at everyone in society who's ever struggled and you just say you are a criminal and you'll always be a criminal, you're literally creating more criminals in the future because you are telling them that they can't be anything else. And I don't know why people don't understand this, but I guess it's because they were never taught it. I shouldn't be judgmental. So it is important that the past is the past. Whether it is a positive thing or a negative thing, we have to be able to let it go, because either way, it will trap the person in the present. And if they take it with them into the future, it will trap them there too. So that is why in the present tense, we might not want to say, I am a swimmer or I am swimming today. It really makes more sense to kind of preserve the sacredness of the I am statement, which is like the identity statement, and just say, like, I swim. Every Tuesday, I go swimming. Today, we're going swimming. It's not, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like, I am a swimmer. I am a rock climber. I am a meditator. There's just, I wake up and I meditate. That's something that I do. Sometimes I don't. It doesn't mean that I'm not a meditator, because it's just an action that we take. And I think it's more important to focus on our actions and our behaviors than, our sense of self, because our sense of self so often is completely wrong anyway in our head. It's usually this awful thing and all these shadows that we haven't been able to compile and integrate into a person. So I could look at you and I could believe, I am all these awful things about me that I still attach to from the past. But if I'm only talking to you about my actions that I am physically expressing into the world, that's an entirely different version of Nikki than the I am statements that I might have in my head. Do you see that difference there? If you just pause for a moment and think about relating to what you've done over the past 1 or 2 or 10 years of your life, the things that weigh you down that you feel shameful for, those things that you don't understand why you had to experience those in life. If you relate to those with an I am statement, how does that make your body feel right now? And if you throw all of that out of the window and instead focus on the things that you are doing in life right now, are you healing? Are you swimming? Are you making sure to sit down with your child and have breakfast together? Are you being forgiving of others, even if it hurts a little bit in your body in the moment, because you know it's the right thing to do? These things are entirely different. And if things come up that you're doing that you don't like you're doing, now you're just identifying things for change. You could say, well, I tried to think of things now, but my actions didn't make me feel like I was a very good person. They were still, I cry a lot or I yell at my children and I don't want to. Well, you can identify with it and say, I am an angry parent, or you can say, oh, I yell and that's an action and I don't like it. So what can I do to change that? And there's a lot that you can do. And I understand that, because when my son was very little, I was under immense amounts of nervous system dysregulation and stress. And I got really angry. But that's not who I am now. I changed completely. I mean, I'm wearing mallet beads. I never would have guessed that this is who I would be 8 years in the future. But that's why it's important to let go of those I ams and focus on what you're doing. If you have any questions about anything that I wrote, if you have questions about anything that I said today, please leave a comment, because I love responding to comments. And at this point in time, if you want to hit the subscribe button, that would be cool, because I hid my YouTube account while I was applying for a new job before I realized I could just change my name. And I didn't realize that would make me lose all of my subscribers. So I am at 0 subscribers again.